Alright, so in the previous video we have created one interface class vehicle, and the vehicle had a type, and vehicle had a price. So we created abstract class car, which implements the class interface vehicle, and here we have class cost, and the cost of the car, which extends the class car. So here when we instantiate it, we will find out that the car type is Toyota, and the price 5,000, which is this guy here. Alright, so how about if instead of class interface, so we're going to create for example class extending. We're going to create a class that extends and implements simultaneously. So for example, here we have a interface and a vehicle. Say for example, we're going to create a class vehicle. Say for example, in this vehicle, for example, if this is a class, we have two interfaces of this class vehicle. But we are not going to do the, I'm not going to give you this example of vehicle, because this vehicle's everywhere, this vehicle, but I'm going to give you a very easy to understand example. For example, the class of president. So we have a class of the president of the United States, and we know the presidents have a power. For example, we're going to have a public, we're going to have a function, and we have a power, because the presidents of the US has a power, and a lot of power. So I am for example the president of US, and I have authority, and I have full authority, because as we all know that the US president has in America is the most powerful person in America with unlimited authority. So that's our president. We have a class, but keep in mind this is not an interface, this is a class. So, and we're going to create another two interfaces. We're going to create interface, for example law, because the president after the presidents and makes the law, and we're going to have another one interface, for example rule. So there is a interface law, and there is an interface rule. Okay, so the first one's this interface is gonna have a public function, and we're gonna put a rule of law, for example. So this interface is gonna have only one method, and that method is gonna be the rule of law. And the interface rules gonna have, for example, we're gonna have a public, we're going to have a function, and then for example rule of nation, or we can say law of nation. We can change this one, we can say law of nation, we can say law of nation, and we can say this one's the rule of nation, rule of nation. So we have two interfaces, the interface law and the interface rule, and we have a class. Keep in mind this is not interface, this is a class on top, and class of the class name is the president, and it says I'm the president of the USA and I have full authority. And they have an interface law, and we have interface rule. What are we going to do next? And we're going to create another class. Say for example, we're going to do class vice president, and vice president, what the vice president is gonna do, extends president, because vice president is the second most powerful person in any country. Say when the president's ill, or when president's on holiday, or when president's away on overseas mission, then the vice president is gonna have assumed all the full authority of the president. So the vice president gonna be the American president. By the time the president's away, or president's ill, or for some other reasons the president not available in his office, in his or her office, so the vice president going to be in charge. And what the vice president is going to do is going to have a full power, and vice president going to implement the law and the rule. So implements the law and rule, because if the president is not at his office, his or her office, then the vice president gonna take in charge, and it's gonna take, and this vice president gonna make sure it implements the law and rule, and the vice president, because it extends all the power of the president. Okay, so now we have our coding has finished. Now we're going to create the instantiate our objects. So we make objects, and now you tell me if you want to make objects of the president, out of the vice president. So in the event that the president is not in his office, we're gonna go into the vice president, because vice president has everything. It extends the presidency. It means it can access this method of power, and it implements the law and rule. So we're gonna create for example, vice is equal to new vice president. So vice is our new object, and now we're gonna come and say vice gonna have a power. It's gonna have the power, and vice is gonna say, for example, this our object is gonna say, I am the most powerful person in America now. And what the else gonna do, the vice president, then we're gonna come and say public function law of nation. So we're gonna put a law of nation, and it's gonna implement that rule of nation. So you're gonna implement both, because now the vice president, that's the vice president's responsibility to come and implement the full rule of law. So we're gonna echo vice president must implement, the vice president must implement law and order. Okay, and then we're gonna come and we're gonna put this one here, the echo, and the vice president must implement law and order, and must implement rules and regulation. This one you can say that law vice president must implement a rule of law, or you can say rule of rule of law, for example, rule of law, and this one's vice president must uphold law. All right, so now we have get a full access to the power for the vice president, and now vice president is going to implement, say for example, the vice president, the vice going to come and going to have law of nation and rule of nations. Say for example, law of nation, and now we're going to put a vice, and the vice going to have a rule of nation. So we're going to put a rule of nation. Okay, so now we need to put a break. We put echo, and we put a BR to break all our statements, and we're going to echo here, and we're going to break here. Okay, so now we have an object here, vice, which is vice president, and the vice president have access to the power of the president, which is here. So that's the power of the president, and if we have interface rule on the law and vice president, then we're going to come and implements the law of nation and rule of nation. That's what the vice president is going to do. And now here we have a vice which have a access to the president. Now this because we're implementing the law and rule, that's what the vice president is going to come and do the both of the interfaces. So we are done, and we're going to come here and we're going to refresh that's our file name. So we're going to look our ext interface simultaneously, and we're going to do here, and you're going to see here that I am the first, I'm the president of the USA, and I have full authority because the US president is not available, and the vice president is the president of the America and have a full authority. So the vice president must implement the law and order, and the vice president must implement the rule of law. How cool is this? How easy is this, guys? So we have a class, and our class name is a president. We have an interface of law, and we have an interface of rule. All right, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to create a class vice president, and which we're going to extend the president, and we're going to implement the rule and order. The rule, you can say rule and order or law and rule, and we're going to bring this guy here, the method here for the interface. The first one, because it's a public, a rule is a public. Keep in mind, in the interfaces we have learned that we should put all the methods public, because that's the interface of the nation. We can see this one, you can hide the law, we can say the law is private, or we can say the law is for specific people, or 1% of the people. We can say the law is for rich, we can say the law is protected, we can say the rule is for rich, we can say the rule is for only for poor, or we can say the rule is for specific people, or we can see anything that the rule is public for everyone. So there is an interface of the law, and there is interface of the rule, which the vice president must implement, and that extends from the president and implements the law and the rule. So we have a public function law of nation, and we have a public function rule of nation. So that's what the vice president, when the president's away, we're gonna bring the vice president, and we're gonna say vice president, according to American Constitution, have a full authority as of the president. And we're gonna break here our statement, and we're gonna, the next line, we're gonna say the vice president must implement the law of the nation. And what the law says, that the law of the nation, that's what the law of the nation says. And the vice president must also implement the rule, and what the rule says, that the vice president must implement the rule of law. That's how easy real world example I can give you, so you guys all never forget this one. So whenever you guys remember the interfaces, classes interfaces, and you guys are going to remember the president, my example of president and the rule of law. So how easy I make a very complicated problem, and I make it very simplified for you guys. And look at here, we have I have created class president, and I have created two interfaces here. Then the class vice president is going to extend the president and implements the law and rule. How easy is this? So here we are just instantiating, and we're getting access because of president's away, our president is ill, our president's got a coronavirus for some other reason. President's went outside with his mice and playing golf at the moment, and the president not is in office. So we're gonna bring the vice president, and the vice president, we're gonna give full authority, full power, and the vice president is gonna implement the law of nation and rule of nation. And that's what we're gonna see here. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe Croyawood for more cool videos of object-oriented PHP. And if you guys have any question or comment, leave in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.